You're not supposed to be happy, and you're not supposed to be content, and you're not supposed to be satisfied. Because you're sitting there going, why am I not happy? Why am I not satisfied? Why am I so miserable? That's exactly how you're supposed to be. I don't know where anyone got this idea that life was created and God created us all and built this entire world for us to sit here and just smile all day. Like children. No, you had your happy years when you were a toddler, when you got that cardboard box to play with, and you didn't appreciate them and you wasted them, and now they're all gone. You're an adult. All your happiness is gone. You're not allowed any anymore. You are supposed to feel frustrated. You're supposed to feel like there's so much that needs to be done. You're supposed to feel like you could have so much more from your life. You're supposed to feel motivated and on fire. You're supposed to feel lots of things, but not necessarily happy. I would say, although my life is basically perfect, I wouldn't call myself happy. I don't like that. Am I content? Yes. Am I absolutely capable? Do I have everything I've ever wanted? Yes. Do I have everything I've ever wished for? Can I have anything I desire to have? Absolutely. Am I respected? Yes. But do I wake up every day like, not really. And I think the people who do that are not particularly successful people. If you are constantly chasing happiness, you are going to fail. If you're constantly chasing happiness, you're going to end up doing hedonistic dumb shit. You're going to end up drinking, taking drugs, doing anything it takes to feel happy. If you're constantly chasing respect or importance, perhaps you will have a far more remarkable life filled with achievements. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be an important man who is respected, or do you want to be happy? And this is a really interesting question. We can talk about this at length. Is Putin happy? I don't know. I mean, he has a lot on his plate. I'm sure Putin's plate is very full, but he is respected, and he is feared, and he's important, and his word matters. It's kind of interesting because I actually believe that respect is more important than happiness for men, and most men who are happy but not respected, it's temporary dumb shit. But men who are truly respected don't need to chase happiness, because when you talk, people listen. How could you be happy as a man if when you say things, nobody listens to you? You say X, and your wife ignores you, your kids ignore you, and all the men around you laugh. Oh, sure, you can take some drugs after that to be happy. But are you truly happy in your heart? No, you're going to be happy when you're respected. So stop being obsessed with this idea of happiness. A lot of guys say to me, oh, I don't feel happy, I don't feel good, I don't feel well. Good. You're supposed to be depressed, you're supposed to be miserable because you're losing. And if what will happen is, if you work really hard and dedicate yourself and become a winner, then you will be not depressed and not miserable, but you'll be extremely preoccupied and concerned with your empire. But at least your word will mean something. And never at any point are you going to laugh and giggle like a 2-year-old toddler did. And that's fine, because you're not supposed to. Because men who act that way are weird. You find me a guy who turns up on time every time with a miserable look on his face and does his job. That's the kind of guy I want. Doesn't matter if he crashes his car. Doesn't matter if his house gets bombed. It's just another day, another shit day, another shit sandwich. Got to go to work and get my work done. That's competence. You don't need happiness to be competent. So, happiness is for girls and kids. You're a man. If you don't feel happy, good. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to feel respected. And you're going to do that via competence, masculine achievement, hard work, dedication, and becoming somebody worth respect. What else are we alive for? What's the point in all of this if it's not to leave a positive mark on the world? What's the point of any of it? And what's the point in having children if they're not going to replicate you? Which means you have a duty to your kids to be as fantastic as possible. I can only hope my children are as good as I am, let alone better. Do you understand how important it is for humanity as a whole that there are 10 Andrew Tates in the future? Not 1, 10. Do you understand how important that is? I have a duty to them to flawlessly perform. People say to me, Andrew, you should shut up. They're going to put you in jail. If I shut up, I may not go to jail, but then I do not get to propagate my ideals. I do not get to show bravery to my offspring. I do not get to leave a mark on humanity. You think I'm afraid of a fucking jail cell? I'm afraid of eternal insignificance, which is fostered from cowardice, because that is the life most of you men are living. You are too cowardly to do the difficult things which must be done to garner respect from allies and enemies alike, and you are going to be forgotten. You are never going to be remembered. Your sons will never wake up every day thinking, I have to be as good as dad. I have to try harder. This is why I quit drinking. People often ask me, Andrew, why'd you quit drinking? Because I have things to do now. When I was younger, the world was a very different place. 10, 15 years ago, the entire world was different than it is now. I don't feel like I've gotten older. I feel like the world has actually genuinely changed. And now we're in an age where the oncoming enslavement is so palatable. You can feel it, you can smell it, you can touch it. All you can possibly be doing is preparing for war. I'm a billionaire with unlimited finance who can do anything. And I spend most of my day training, making money, and educating my sons on how difficult their life's going to be. You have a lot less money and resource and capability and fame and knowledge and intellect than me. What are you doing with your time? You should be dedicating even more time to these things than I am. What are you doing with your time? Be honest. Going to the bar. Whoa, a girl. You're always going to feel empty until you just admit what you really want. And the beauty of it is, you can't believe that these things are owed to you, because they're not. The beauty about it is these things must be earned. People say women are ruined and feminism's destroyed them. It's true. Women are ruined to the point that their standards are now much higher. You can get a woman who will dedicate her life to you and trust you completely, but you have to be that guy. And you can make money, and you have to be that guy. And you can be feared by your enemies, but you have to be that guy. Things have changed. The difficulty has been turned up. The winners will get higher scores than ever before. The losers will be decimated in real time. The Western world is collapsing. Slavery is coming for everybody. And you need to at least be perspicacious enough to see all of this coming and indefatigable enough to work endlessly to do your best to resist. And your primary objective should be to have enough sons who will go into history and become fantastic enough for them to discuss who their father was. My father is still talked about every single day somewhere on the internet, not only because of his achievements, but because of who I am. The most common question I get asked by men is, why am I unhappy? And the answer isn't an answer they like, but I'm going to tell you all one more time why you feel empty and unhappy inside. It's because you deserve it. It's because you're a loser. It's because you haven't tried hard enough. It's because you're not significant enough. Because that hole in your heart will never be filled by the garbage and asinine bullshit you're doing with your life. Because nobody respects you and women don't pine after you. You don't have endless children from endless supermodels. You haven't achieved enough. Your name isn't respected. You're a fucking nobody. If I was you, I'd be unhappy too. And you deserve that unhappiness. And that unhappiness should be endless fire and motivation for you to do whatever it takes to get ahead. If I am outworking you and I'm already at the top of the mountain, how do you expect to ever get up here? At the absolute highest echelons of human achievement, I am still outworking you. I am not distracted by the things you're distracted by. I've got a huge head start. And if you ever want to feel truly content in your heart, if you ever want to look in the mirror and understand no matter what they do to me, if they put me in jail, if they attack me online, if they lie about me, if the BBC prints bullshit, if they matrix attack me, if they take my money, no matter what they do to me, I'm still that guy. It's only going to be achieved via hard work.
Not only do you lack fire, you lack imagination. Because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. But if you're in the middle, you don't do that. You don't want it enough to talk about it and imagine over the temporary dopamine and entertainment you can achieve from the fucking PlayStation your mother bought you because your parents have enough money for PlayStations. We didn't have one. We couldn't get one. We couldn't afford it. I'd like to be rich, but Netflix is on and the TV's on and mom's just brought me a Capri Sun.
The heating's on.
I'm not cold. Everything's fine. So you don't sit and imagine deep in your soul. Not only do you lack fire, not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the fucking man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. Poor people imagine. escaping. And rich people have duty to their last name, which is instilled in them. So they are born and raised to be winners. Your parents are not doing that. Your parents aren't even saying you need to be rich because your last name is X. They're not saying that. They're saying, well, I want you to follow your passion and I want you to be happy. And, you need to go to school, just get a degree and get a mortgage. And as long as you're happy, it's bullshit. They are poisoning you.
Because you will not be happy.
You better get some fucking money. What do you mean you want to follow your dreams? What do you mean you're tired? What do you mean you want to go to fucking therapy? What do you mean you want to just sit around and play video games? You better get some money, you little bitch.
Deliver those newspapers.
Yeah, go get a fucking job. Go work at a gas station. I don't give a shit. Get some money. Go get some money. And we used to sit there struggling to make money as teenagers, giving it all away to our parents to keep the house functioning, dreaming of a world where we didn't have to do that anymore. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all realms, forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no fucking middle class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire. And I'm saying this to you because there's a whole bunch of you who don't realize how badly you failed. You were born somewhere in the middle, and you're still somewhere in the middle. You grew up in some middle-class fucking household. Your parents had a car. Your parents had jobs. They had a mortgage. They paid their house off. You've now moved out. You got some fucking average-ass apartment in Miami. You fucked the odd girl. You got some Audi. You make a little bit of money. You think you're a G. You're a fucking nobody. You've not even managed to surpass your parents. You haven't elevated on any level. You're exactly where they fucking were. You're at the same fucking place. And I'm telling you, unless you get into the ultra wealthy, unless you're in a position like my brother and I, where you can spend millions and millions of dollars a day for the rest of human time, eventually you're going to end up some degree of slave. You need to start imagining what actual freedom is. You need to start seeing beyond the confines of your comfort. You need to start developing the hunger it's going to take for you to elevate to the highest possible echelons and stop being enslaved by your comfort, because that's what you're enslaved by. It's extremely important. What have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? How many of you at home have actively tried to network today?
Learned something new today?
When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? Are you a pussy? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build the dream life that you want to have. And then you expect it to just appear. Do you know why? Because when you were born in the middle, your parents put food in the fridge. It just appeared. The heating was just on because it was cold outside. Do you not understand when you were born here and it was cold outside and you said, Mom, it's cold. Can we put the heating on? She'd say, do you have any fucking money?
Put on a sweater. Sweaters are free.
You'd say, no, I don't have any money. You ain't got any money. Why do you want the heater on? It's like, because I ain't got any well, it's cold. Well, then get some fucking money. We were taught, if you want something, get money. Mom, I'm hungry. You got any money? No. Well, then you're hungry. Bitch, get some money. We knew. You never had that problem. You think your dream life's going to just appear on your doorstep because food just appeared in your fridge and the heating just fucking turned on. It was given to you by your fucking parents and they have neutered you. They've taken away your fucking spirit of resistance, your spirit to conquest and fight back. That's why people at the bottom, we understand intricately. We understand this viscerally. We understand that nothing is going to come to us unless we go out there and get it ourselves. And once you have that, you have endless motivation for all things. That is extremely important. You may never be poor, but you'll never matter. You'll be somewhere here in the middle forever. Because you know what? It's not just in the middle financially. It's the middle in all ways.
You're not strong.
You're not strong. You're not unique. Women can't smell warrior on you. Your woman cheats on you. Your woman back talks you. You think a rich man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she doesn't get to go on the boat. You think a poor man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she gets domestic violence. Only you in the middle are having a fucking female run her mouth to you and you're going, please babe, calm down. All because you're such a fucking pussy, you won't do what it takes to have an essence of superiority and power about you. It's truly incredible how lazy you are if you're prepared to spend your only spin of this earth living a subpar experience purely because you cannot find the fire inside of you to get up and get things done. God wants to see you take care of what he has given you. Nobody continues to give gifts to the ungrateful. This is absolutely true about life. Except the people who are most likely to get gifts when they're ungrateful are the idiots in the middle. When you're at the bottom, you don't get gifts at all. If you do, you better fucking show you're grateful for it or you're never going to get it again. At the top, if they give you money or give you gifts, they expect you to go out there and do something fantastic with it, like they would do, because they have high expectations of themselves and their bloodline. But if you're in the middle, you're allowed to fuck up. Do you think Baron Trump is going to be allowed to fuck up with Trump's money? Doubt it. Do you think the people at the bottom are allowed to fuck up with a few dollars in the house? No. You know who's allowed to fuck up? You. Somewhere in the middle, you can borrow a bit of money. You can, oops, I got in debt. Oops, I gamble. Oops, I'm a dummy. You can oops. And guess what? They'll bail your stupid ass out. You will never truly feel the sting of rock bottom. And that's why you're going to stay where you are. I'm going to build my wealth in 22 years. 22 fucking years? That's how much time you have? That's how much food's in your fridge, you little bitch? You're going to sit around and just wait 22 years? People die in our world. We don't have 22 fucking years. We have things to do. We have to go and get it. We have hunger inside of us. You are so lazy. Most of you have a plan to get rich in 3 years from now, and that's fine. You don't understand you could get rich in 3 weeks if you try.
Your enemy is the version of you which doesn't take shit. Your enemy is the version of you which goes to the gym every single day. And if you've done this correctly, then what you should be doing by now is thinking of him permanently. Every single time you go to the gym and you haven't done that one extra rep, he did. Every single time you don't feel like doing something, you have to think, yeah, but he would do it. If you truly constructed him the way you should, he should be crossing your mind with every single thing you do. And this is why it's important to develop an ego. This is lesson 2 of the Iron Mind course, is to develop an ego. Egos are extremely important. Egos have always existed. Throughout ancient history, men, kings, went to war and millions of people died because someone insulted him because of his ego. Egos are a natural human thing and they're extremely important. And the modern world tells men to not have an ego. And they do that because it makes you weak and easy to control. You can only have an iron mind if you are so sure of yourself, so egotistical that nobody can break it. So an ego is extremely important. Now, for the first lesson, we built your enemy, and we built this perfect person you're going to be battling against. And there's a very specific reason we did it based on a version of you. One, because it shows who you could be. But the other reason is also because if your ego is based around beating this person, you get to go through life and be a nice guy to everyone else. People say don't have an ego because they think that if they give you an ego, you have an ego, you're going to be egotistical to the people you meet. I'm a nice guy to everyone I meet because they're not my enemy. I'm not combating against them. I'm a nice guy to every person. I'm a nice guy to every woman. I say please and thank you. I'm a nice person. But I do have a massive ego. But my ego comes into play when I'm fighting against my enemy. Listen, did you fuck your wife yesterday? Maybe you did. So imagine this guy fucked your wife. He would have fucked her better than you did. And this should inspire your ego. The person you're battling against is beating you. And this person is who you could be. That's what's the most annoying thing about it. This person's outlifting you in the gym. They're making more money. They're fucking their wife better. They got more girls. They're rolling around a nicer car. This could be you, but it's not you. Only because you don't have the motivation to do what this individual does. Nothing to do with genetics, nothing to do with luck. This person is you and they're beating you. And this should inspire your ego. Most people's egos work against them. And the way it works against them is they feel entitled. They wake up and they think, oh, I deserve a nice car. I'm a special person. I deserve a nice car. And then when they don't get a nice car, they get disheartened and annoyed. That is not the right way to use an ego. An ego should be used as in, I deserve a nice car, so I'm going to go fucking get one. That's an ego. So this person who you've built, your enemy, he has a nice car because he has worked harder than you have. So he has a nice car and you don't have one. Whose fault is that? There should be no reason, no excuse for you to not do everything that you believe you need to do to be the best person you can be if you've properly created this enemy. You've looked at this list, 25 to 30 points long of everything this guy does. And you should look at that list and think, fuck, this is who I'm competing against. I need to start getting my shit together. And your ego should stop you from wanting to lose. Otherwise, day after day after day, you are losing to this individual. This individual is beating you day after day after day. You can't let that happen. Your ego is extremely important. And you only have one person you're competing against. And it's the person you created, which is nothing more than a better version of yourself. So day by day, you're losing this battle. And that should make you uncomfortable. It should make you nervous. It should make you anxious. So you start to feel that way, because this is the truth. If you've truly imagined who your enemy is, and you truly imagine them beating you, you should not be able to relax. The fact that you can still sit and watch TV means you need to go back to the first video of this course and start again, and do it properly, and do it well enough so that you can no longer sit still. You look at yourself in the mirror and go, okay, yeah, I've got some muscle, but this guy, he's got real muscle. I've got a little bit of money. This guy, he hustles nonstop. He's on Twitter nonstop. He's started businesses. He's learned how to make websites. He's trading crypto. He's got all of Tate's programs. He's got this. He's got that. You need to get your shit together. And if you do that properly, you'll start to feel nervous. You'll imagine the version of you that is as amazing as they could be. And then you look at yourself and realize that you're failing. It's the reality. And you'll sit there and go, fuck. Now, when you feel anxious, there's only one thing you can do. You can either sit there and be anxious like a little girl and be worried about it, or you can put some things in action. I was nervous before every single fight, and that's when I fought the best, because I was afraid. I was afraid of losing. And you need to be afraid of losing day by day throughout your life. You know who your enemy is, you know what he's doing, and you're losing day by day. Now, if you go to the gym and you beat your personal best, let's say the most you've ever benched is 100 kilo, you go there, you bench 105 kilo. The days you beat your personal best are the days you've beaten this individual. That's the only day you're allowed to claim a victory. If you beat your personal best, you can claim a victory. I went there, I did more than I've ever done, I beat this guy. But if you're not beating your personal best, he is beating you. And that should inspire you to try and smash through your own records day after day after day. The most money you've ever made in a month. The most weight you've ever lifted. The most girls you've ever spoke to. It doesn't matter what goals you set. You have to understand that you're going to spend a lot of time losing. And all this time you're spending losing is going to damage your ego, and that's going to make you anxious and unhappy and nervous, and you're going to put all that nervous energy into smashing your personal records so you have those days of victory. Everything compounds. What most people don't understand is they think that life just changed overnight. Everything compounds. People say to me, oh, Tate, how did you become successful? I can't tell you the one thing that made me successful. I was always driven, motivated. I understood how to make good connections. I looked after the people who looked after me. I always knew what the right thing to do was. I didn't drink for many years of my life. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. But I did do this. And it all comes together to success. It's not about one thing. A lot of people go through life with a very average attitude to life, and they wait for their one big break. Yeah, maybe you'll get it, but that's not the reality. If you're hoping for a big break, you may as well just keep buying the lottery tickets. You have to build your big break. And you're going to do that with 1,000 tiny victories. It's a change of mindset that's going to allow you to put together 1,000 tiny victories. And the change of mindset is simply understanding that there's a version of you that exists somewhere in the multiverse, which is much better than you are right now. They have the same star, the same genetic composition, but they are destroying you in every measurable metric, purely because they don't get lazy, don't get tired, don't watch TV, don't waste their time. They have an iron mind. And that person is going to become you now. That is who you are fighting against.